What's up, Jets fans? Welcome to the latest edition of Jets Latest, where you get the latest on the Jets. I'm your host, the spitting statistician, Dane Martinez, and today I want to talk about this Jets offense because we've been focused on Omar Cooper, Kenyon Sadiq, right? Kind of ascending to the next level for Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, kind of getting respected again as Pro Bowl caliber talent. But I think there is under the radar comeback and breakout potential all over this offense. So we are going to get into that. But before we do, as usual, I want to thank the almost 3,300 of you who have subscribed to the Jets Latest channel. We are really becoming one of the biggest, brightest, best Jets channels out there. You ain't got to take my word for it. You could just check it in the comments every single day. So thank you for liking these videos, watching these videos, engaging in the comments, and to the crew. Tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. But let's get started really with Geno Smith, who we acquired from the Vegas Raiders. I think he went unlucky over the last couple of years. I mean, had a bad O-line, got sacked more than any quarterback in the NFL, had no real pass catchers, and pass catchers that had a bad drop rate in with his time in Vegas. And if you look at stats like his turnover-worthy throws, they are far below the interceptions that he actually had. And so a lot of people are wondering, can he return to form from Seattle, where he was a two-time Pro Bowler, where he won the Comeback Player of the Year award? And I'm believing that could not only be what Geno does, but also talk about what that represents for the Jets offense. The Jets offense was putrid last year in the passing game, throwing for only 2,767 yards. And that allowed defenses to stack the box against Breece Hall. That put the defense in a bad game script and in bad spots. So not only does Geno represent an upgrade and the impact and ripple effect can be felt, we believe, from a lot of players, but Geno says he thinks he's a better version than even that Seattle time when he was a two-time Pro Bowler. He says, I'm way better than I was back then, even those Pro Bowl years. Sometimes the stats don't always tell the story. For me, it's about getting better every single day, not looking too far ahead or too far behind. I just focus on what's going on today and leading this team today the best and the best I can be. Geno Smith, I've been giving you some futures bets recently. Geno Smith is 45 to 1 to win Comeback Player of the Year, which would be the second time he did it in Seattle in 2022. Garrett Wilson is 33 to 1 to be the Comeback Player of the Year. So those, I think, are interesting. And remember, he had a bad O-line, no weapons. The turnover-worthy throws percentage was way below the turnovers that he actually had. So now with an offensive line, now with some weapons, I think this passing attack could look better, and we could, in fact, get the best version of Geno Smith we have seen in a long time. Quite frankly, one of the wide receivers, obviously Garrett Wilson, right? But one of the wide receivers I think is flashing, is making noise, and stands to benefit a ton with the move to Geno Smith is Adonai Mitchell. Adonai Mitchell has been flashing in camp. Adonai Mitchell is primed, in my opinion, to have a big role in this Jets offense. We talk about the ripple effects, right? Like, for example, Breece Hall will face less stacked boxes. He faced a stacked box 51% of the time. That was sixth highest among lead running backs last year. Garrett Wilson will finally have some other threats, taking defensive and secondary attention away from him. But Adonai Mitchell, I think, can take a step forward. He is only 23 years old. He has been looking really good at camp. And check this out. He's poised to be the big play threat, the deep threat, right? His ADOT, which means average depth of target, okay, was third among wide receivers last year at almost 15 yards. People are throwing him deep the ball, but 59.7% of his air yards were deemed uncatchable last season. That is the sixth highest rate in the NFL. So let me translate that for you non-stat heads, right? He is a big play guy. People are trying to hit him with bombs. And last year, over half of the times, over half of the yards that were thrown to him were deemed uncatchable. He couldn't make a play on. I think moving to Geno Smith is absolutely going to help. Geno Smith has a 68.2 completion rate over the last 4 seasons. That is sixth best in the NFL. And his deep ball accuracy is good. Out of the last 4 seasons, in 3 of them, Geno Smith finished top 7 in the NFL in completion rate on deep passes, including back in 2022 when he won Comeback Player of the Year. He tied for the league lead with an almost 50% completion rate on balls that traveled over 20 yards. Those are some deep stats from FTN. If you are subscribed here to Jets Latest, you know about me and FTN, hosting the FTN Fantasy Show on SiriusXM. I love their stats. This is the kind of stats you can put together and see that Geno Smith can be more accurate downfield than Adonai Mitchell has ever experienced before, whether it's his time with the Jets when he had like Justin Fields and Brady Cook, or before that with Anthony Richardson throwing him the ball. I believe you put all that to kind of in combination, and AD Mitchell can finally realize his potential as being a top-notch deep threat in the NFL with this Jets offense, and you have to respect that. And because you have to respect Adonai Mitchell, the safety has to play over the top. What does that mean? That means less stacked boxes for Breece Hall. That means one-on-one coverage for Garrett Wilson and Omar Cooper. You know what that also means? That also means some seams and over the middle available for the tight ends. And that's the other person I want to talk about. We are all talking about Kenyon Sadiq, who is a unicorn, a mismatch nightmare, who we drafted with the number 16 pick overall. But last year, we drafted a top tight end with the second round pick, and that is Mason Taylor. And a lot of people think Mason Taylor is going under the radar in terms of a potential breakout, and including CBS Sports. They named Mason Taylor among their breakout candidates for 2026. And remember, he actually led the Jets with 44 catches last year, 23 catches that went for a first down, and he only played 13 games before that neck injury kind of ended his season. He also had a contested catch rate of over 78%. That led rookie tight ends in a tight end rookie class that included Tyler Warren, Colston Loveland, Harold Fannin, right? And again, that catchable target rate was 81%. And that's for short passes, over the middle, close to the line of scrimmage. You insert Geno Smith and his accuracy, that should improve as well. Aaron Glenn is very excited about a step that Mason Taylor could take forward. He says, I'm really looking forward to what Mason does this year. I think Mason's going to have a hell of a year. You're going to see him take another step, so I'm excited about that player. And here's the other thing, and I give credit to Muji here. You know, in the wideouts, you got your alpha Garrett Wilson. You got your deep threat Adonai Mitchell. You got Omar Cooper, who's kind of breaking tackles, yak underneath. But the tight ends are the same thing. Kenyon Sadiq actually, at Oregon, lined up in the slot a ton. Mason Taylor lines up in line a ton. Did so in his rookie year, over 50% of the time. You see it there, 389 of the 656 snaps, right? So, Frank Reich, the new offensive coordinator, who likes to use 12 personnel. And if you don't know what that means, when you hear 12, 22, 13, the first number is the number of running backs on the field. The second number is the number of tight ends on the field. 12 personnel means one running back, two tight ends. Taylor and Sadiq complement each other. Taylor as more of an inline tight end. Sadiq as more maybe in the slot as a matchup nightmare. And then when you have an Adonai Mitchell going deep, when you have a Garrett Wilson you got to pay attention to, that could open it up for everybody. And Geno Smith gets to just be kind of the point guard with his accuracy. This is put together, in my opinion, very, very well. There are so many options here for Geno Smith to kind of be that point guard, be his best self, and Frank Reich, I trust to go ahead and scheme it up. So don't forget about just Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, or you're hearing Omar Cooper, you're hearing Kenyon Sadiq. Don't forget about guys like Adonai Mitchell. Don't forget about guys like Mason Taylor, who in totality make this Jets offense a lot more dynamic in the passing game than it has been in years past. So that'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. Remember, you can find me in plenty of places. I told you about FTN, where I host over on SiriusXM. I'm doing a lot with these prediction markets right now. I'm one of the 7 oracles. Go check me out on the 7 oracles.com. Great website. We've got great content. We've got a free newsletter. Sign up, and some tools to help you profit in these prediction markets. Use the promo code World Cup. We're giving you a 33% discount right now, so check me out over there. And I am also on a new show called On the Record by Called It Media, where we're giving out plays in prediction markets as well. But if you're only here for the Jets, Jets, we are here all the time, every day, giving you the real. And as always, let's see what some of you regulars have to say. We've got Cobra KJ13, who says, it's always good to have the veterans teach the younger players. Absolutely. That youth and experience mix that we've been talking about here, right? Bringing in Tim Patrick, for example, bringing in Geno Smith, for example, and then specifically on the defensive end, guys like Harrison Phillips, Demario Davis, Minka Fitzpatrick being brought in. I like this mix, and that seems intentional by Muji and Glenn. Hoo 9080-D4M says, good show. The Jets added veteran leadership to help with this team. They keep adding players to the roster to help out. Looking at the wide receivers, I'm glad they keep adding to do what they did last offseason. Do I think any of the undrafted free agencies they added may be able to help this team? I've said it I think Malik McClain, who's an undrafted free agent out of Arizona State, is one to watch. 6'5" frame could be that complement that they are looking for to round out the wide receiver room. And then Mr. Keichel says, I agree the Jets will surprise this year. They will win 9 games, in my humble opinion. Now, if you're a subscriber, you know I always say this. I draw an analogy to Dan Campbell coming in, showing pride, building an identity with the Detroit Lions. I think that's what Aaron Glenn is trying to do. I think that's what Aaron Glenn saw in his time in Detroit. Remember that first year in Detroit? The Lions went 0-10-1 to start with Jared Goff. They didn't look good. Then their second year, they still didn't make the playoffs, but they reeled off something like 7 wins at the end of the season, starting to ascend. That's what I think could happen this year for the Jets. Do I think they're going to win 12, 13 games and go to the playoffs? Not necessarily, but I think they are going to look much better, be something we could be proud of, be something we could be optimistic for as they continue to build this roster. So like I said, I'll be here talking about it all the time as we get through camp, into training camp, into the season. You need to subscribe. Tell a Jets fan friend to tell a Jets fan friend. That'll do it for this episode of Jets Latest. I'll be back all the time. Hopefully you will be watching and listening as well. But for this episode of Jets Latest, we out of here. Peace.